Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of The Shack. So The Shack is a religious-based film that has a pretty awesome cast. So when I saw the trailers for it, I was really intrigued. And the premise seemed like something new, something fresh. It was based on a really popular book. So I actually was pretty optimistic heading into the film. And I have to say, for the most part, I think this is a pretty solid movie. We're going to go ahead and just start this off by talking about said cast. Sam Worthington is not a very good actor. Sorry, it just kind of is what it is, and it shows in this film. There are moments when you really do feel it, and you can see some good acting shining through. And then you realize, oh, he kind of just has the same face the rest of the time. Or when he tries to stretch himself, you notice they never really kind of zoom in on his face. They do like backward shots or shots from afar, so you never get to really see him crying or see him emoting. So I think overall Sam Worthington maybe wasn't the best choice for the lead here. I think we could have gotten a little bit more of an emotional impact out of somebody else. But, I mean, he wasn't bad. It just kind of exposed the limited range he has as an actor to me. Octavia Spencer was fabulous, as she always is. I really do think she was great in this movie. She added so much depth to her character, which I think in many ways was kind of a limited written character, but her acting just elevated all of it. Tim McGraw has a very, very supporting role in this film. But again, I think he is good. I don't think there was anything great or anything we haven't seen from Tim McGraw. But he's the perfect example of casting a person correctly. Because I think he exudes warmth. He just has this nice feeling about him when you're watching him on screen. And it worked perfectly for the character he was supposed to be. Didn't ask him to stretch as an actor, didn't ask for too much, and I think he delivered exactly what the film needed him to deliver. Radha Mitchell is also one that had a really tiny part. She was also very solid in that role. So speaking of kind of the newcomers that also star along Octavia Spencer in The Shack, I think Alice Braga is great in this movie. I think she's actually great in pretty much everything I've seen her in, and I hope that she continues to get work. She's a really good actress, and I want to see her in more things. Aviv Alush plays Jesus in this movie, and I thought he also was very good, very personable. And then we had Samir, who played Energy, Life. I'm not really actually positive on what she was doing, but she was also good. She was asked to stretch a little bit too far, though, emotionally, and she couldn't quite pull it off. But what I liked is, including all those people I just listed off, and then others that are in this film that weren't listed in my little rundown there, this is an extremely diverse cast. I mean, we have everyone from all walks of life, all different nationalities included with this cast, which I thought was fantastic. Also, the role of God being portrayed as a black woman was wonderful to see. And then again, when he's reimagined as a man, it's not the typical God you expect to see. It was a Native American man, and I thought that was great. I think it's great just to break down that idea of God can only be envisioned as a white, older man. Needs to be busted, and I think it was a great message that God comes to you in whatever way you need him to be presented for the situation, and that's really what happened here. And I thought it was a really well conveyed message. I also think this film had a very sophisticated message about religion and about faith. I think it had great messages about judgment and about everyone running around thinking they are the ultimate judges, and a line from Jesus' character himself about religion and not wanting prisoners or people who just follow blindly, but wanting friends and wanting people to follow next to them on the journey. And I thought those were great messages that I really wasn't expecting when I went into the film. I also think this movie really highlighted why religion is so strong in so many communities. Holding on to that religion and holding on to that faith during times of grief can be maybe the only thing that actually pulls you out of the grief. Maybe the only thing that saves your life in the grief situations. Again, I think that was conveyed beautifully in this film, and I really think it hit home with the whole grief message and tying that in, again, with judgment and forgiveness and finding ways to heal. As for the not so good parts about this film, I did not like the framing device at all. Before we hit the starting credit where they showed the title, I thought was just blah all the way around. And then I thought the end was kind of blah as well. Tim McGraw narrates the film, and the parts where he's not narrating were the good parts. Every time he had that narration over the top, I thought it just was not working at all. And I think actually the director in general is by far the weakest aspect to this film. I think that the choices the director made were just very poor. I think things like the cinematography could have been much more grand. They had beautiful landscapes here, but they just never utilized them. I think the editing was kind of weird. And again, that decision to do that framing device, it didn't work at all. Plus, as you kind of would expect going into a religious or Christian film, the message is very heavy-handed. They don't pull any punches on what this is about and what you're getting yourself in for, which obviously is what most people are going to go into this movie looking for, but it also kind of pushes away people who don't believe in God or aren't religious at all, and it kind of divides the audience in that way. It's not out to really convert anyone, but I honestly don't think it actually is offensive to people who don't believe. And I also think the ending just felt really rushed. It just kind of was like we went through this really good, nice journey with our main character, and then it kind of just like rapid fire ends. So I wish we had had more closure, but then again, I need to watch what I asked for, because I think you can definitely feel the runtime. This is like a 2.5 hour movie, and it felt like a 2.5 hour movie. I think there are parts of this film that just drag, that should have been cut down, should have been slimmed. If we would have gotten rid of that beginning and gotten rid of the way this movie ends, it maybe could have rewritten a whole new, much better ending. But overall, I ended up enjoying this film about as much as I expected to. I know that a lot of times when people who aren't extremely religious or who don't attend church every weekend, when we see things like Christian film or Christian-based film, it can be a little bit daunting going in thinking, oh gosh, am I going to get beaten over the head with these messages? But this movie really did feel different. I felt like it was much more open. It had really positive and inclusive messages to give, and I think they're messages that people definitely of religious backgrounds will like to hear, but also messages that people that are in those religions need to hear. I think it's a good reminder for all of us, actually, about judgment and thinking we are the ultimate judges, and about forgiveness in order to heal. I think these are universal messages that it gets across really well. So if you are part of that faith-based audience, I say give this a full price ticket. I think you will really, really enjoy yourself, and as I said, it's a great messaging film. If you're not part of that, I think that you could rent this movie and have an alright time with it. The cast is good. They all are all in. The editing and script, and definitely the directing, do kind of bring the whole production value down a little bit. So I can't really recommend you go and pay to see this. But if you catch it on TV, I don't think it'll be the worst way to spend your time. So that has been my review of The Shack. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below, and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see The Shack? And what is your favorite movie starring God? Let me know either in the comment section down below or hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!